Good morning, North America, and welcome back to another edition of Clay's Corner. Today, I am joined by a very wonderful and special guest. He has been my best friend for 12 years, and he is one of the greatest men I've ever known, and he has some interesting and fantastic stories to present to you guys today. Go ahead and introduce yourself for us.
Well, thank you, Clay. It's my pleasure to be here today. I must say it's been a lifelong goal of mine to be on your show, and here I am finally able to talk to you. My name is Reid Varda. I am a freelance photographer, currently open-ended on any gigs, so if you know of anything or need any photographs, please let me know. But it's my goal one day to end up working with either the National Geographic or Patagonia Photography, and what a world that would be.
That's what I'm talking about, Reid. All right, Reid, go ahead and tell us about the journey that you took this summer. It was quite an expedition from what you tell me. So go ahead and tell me a little bit about this journey that you were taking.
So this past summer, I took the absolute trip of a lifetime to the Masai Mara in southwest Kenya, to the Serengeti and Mahale National Reserve in Tanzania. And I must say that is something that I will never, ever top as far as the photography I was able to capture, the animals I saw, the people I interacted with, and just the general sense of being there. It was second to none.
Was it almost a life-changing experience, would you say?
I would definitely say so.
You would say so? Okay. Now, go ahead and give us details about what you did there. You know, what were some of your favorite shots that you were able to take? And I'm also wondering if you had like a tour guide at all. Did you have a tour guide to really get you immersed within the wildlife in Africa?
We did. We did a safari. So we were driving around in an old truck, an old Land Cruiser, which they had retrofitted to have seats on the top and general viewing points throughout. Had a guide. His name was Jonathan. He would always get us in the right positions. Always made sure that we were open for a very good shot as far as being able to see the animals in the right lighting. And as well, too, he just had a whole wealth of information about all the animals that we saw. Always knew all of their habits, what their calls and everything else sounded like, and always gave us a whole bunch of advice as far as what we needed to know.
Do you think you could give us one of your favorite calls, maybe a little impression of a call from an animal?
Oh no, I couldn't do that. No,
You can't do that?
I'm not much of an animal impressionist myself.
Okay, all right. So I have a question. What was one of your favorite animals that you were able to photograph? And, did you have any sort of special connection with this animal? Did you make eye contact with it and basically it was love at first sight,
Well, I wouldn't say love at first sight because these are animals, as you know.
Well, I understand that, Reid.
Well, yes, but one that struck out for me was the leopard.
Okay.
Leopards have always been one of my favorite animals, just as far as their general beauty and grace. And I was able to capture a very, very beautiful shot of one climbing down from a tree. It has her claws stretched out all in the front down, the beautiful slope of her back. And it was an incredible moment for me because we had woken up at 5 a.m. that morning to go out early and see it, especially because we knew that she was in the area right by our camp. We were lucky enough to find her treed up with an animal that she had freshly killed, so we were able to witness that. And when she hopped down, which is what I got the beautiful picture of, she ended up walking right by our truck. And I'm saying like less than 7 feet from the door.
Right.
Was looking right at us, and she was just a beautiful, beautiful creature.
How are you able to actually track it? Because you said you woke up at 5 in the morning. How were you able to figure out what exact location it was in? Was there any, knowledge that the tour guide had?
Quite a lot of luck, if I will say.
Okay.
As it happened, one of the other trucks, because it wasn't just us, there was several other people within the same campsite.
Mm-hmm.
They went out, located it first, so they were the lucky ones that discovered it, radioed into all of us, and then everyone else kind of gathered around the tree that she'd been found in. So it was a very lucky moment for us, especially seeing her with a fresh kid like that. So
That's cool. Where were your living quarters? I don't know why that question kind of struck my mind, but
it was
where were your living quarters?
Yeah,
you
no, that's
know?
a very valid question. I wouldn't call it living quarters, but it was more of a semi-permanent tent.
Okay.
So a very almost a lot nicer than you would probably picture, as far
Okay.
as it actually had a wooden floor bottom,
Oh,
with a pretty open, spacious inside, very nice mattresses and all that as well too. So it wasn't just huffing it and bunking it
Right.
out in the wilderness. It was a very nice accommodation. But
do you have any pictures of the
I
living
do
quarters?
not of the camps,
Okay.
of the actual tents themselves.
Okay.
I do of the last place we stayed at, which was on a beach, just because it was so idyllic and everything about it was so easy to photograph. But everything else was not as important to me as
Yeah.
the wildlife or just the general nature.
Okay. What was the, I guess, most striking, or what story really resonated with you about an animal? You know, the tour guide might have some sort of interesting story about a particular animal, or maybe even about like almost a lore. You know, was there any lores that he was able to give you about a specific animal, or like any very interesting stories where he had encountered one? You
There
know?
was one story that I really remember just because of how ludicrous it was more than anything else. It was that he was back in his home, in his village, one night, and hippopotamus, as you know, are a nocturnal animal.
Mhm.
So they go out from the water during the night and go to graze and feed. So Jonathan, being at home with his family, one night heard a hippo walking into his village and caused a whole bunch of chaos.
Really?
Yes, so it was a whole ordeal apparently to try and kick it out, while also not destroying their huts and fences and cattle, everything else. So that was very interesting telling him about, or telling us about that, because it's just such a foreign concept for all of us to have something
Yeah.
like a hippopotamus in your
Exactly.
backyard.
I think the only thing we can really compare that to in Kentucky, at least, is if a horse was able to, you know, actually
Right,
come
if
in
it
our
were to somehow
backyard.
escape the paddock or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think a hippopotamus is coming anywhere near us,
Right.
unless the Louisville Zoo has, you know, some sort of, I don't know, breakout.
And then some
basically.
questions would be asked.
Questions would be asked, certainly. I think so. Now, I want to play a little game here with you, Reid. We're going to play 2 truths, 1 lie. And I want you to give me 2 truths about what you did in Africa, and then 1 lie. And I want to see if I can guess it, okay? I want to see if I can guess it. So, go ahead and give me 2 truths and 1 lie.
All right. So, to get from campsite to campsite, because they were very spread apart, it was not just something you could like quickly drive to. As well, there's no roads, so we would have to fly in bush planes. And the sketchiest one that we had to land at was our last site at Mahale, which is the pilot told us it was one of the top 5 most dangerous landing sites in the world. Because you had to clear a mountaintop right before the runway, and it ends straight off into the lake. So you have about 1,000 feet of where you are good to go, and can't do anything else other than that.
Did you trust the guy?
It had to, and
Yeah.
I'm still here, so obviously it worked out. But that was honestly one of the sketchiest moments of my life.
Did he tell you initially?
Kind of.
Kind
It
of?
was like about 30 minutes before we were approaching in. That's when he decided to let the cabin know.
That's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, do you guys have a parachute around here?
Oh no, it was full white knuckle grip on the seats. So,
Okay, all right. Give me another.
second one. On one occasion, we stayed in. It was a tree house, like basically just a platform on a modified tree that we stayed in one night, which we had baited right under the tree house with meat and just basically meat on a log.
Did you do that to get shots?
It was supposed to be able to get nighttime shots.
Okay.
But my friend and I, who we were up in the treehouse together, ended up getting too terrified to actually capture any.
Yeah.
And
That
spent
makes sense.
most of the night just trying to concern ourselves with everything that wasn't out there.
Mm.
But that was a very, I guess, not traumatic, but just nervous ordeal.
I agree. Yeah, I would not be okay
Especially
with
waking
that.
up in the next morning with the log completely gone.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
Okay, now give me the third. Give me the third.
The third, let me think. So on the third, or well, I guess I'll go to one from Mahale, a story from Mahale, which is a chimpanzee reserve. So they have a whole family of chimps there that they've kind of documented and followed. They all have names and are basically as close to humans as you can possibly get, and I will absolutely verify that. But at the same time, they are still wild animals, and the proof of that is one time when we were out on the trail right by them. This is like where they have their own little trails that they've made. We're allowed to go on them. You're not allowed to touch them. Have to wear like the COVID masks, basically, same kind of thing, N95s, because they could get sick from our diseases and such. But one time, one of them picked up a ball and threw it at my friend Avery, and it wasn't a rock or anything. It was a pile of shit. Okay. It wasn't a pile of rocks or anything. It was a pile of poop.
Yeah, that sounds.
So I guess it's
nice.
really true that monkeys do throw their own poop.
Wow, that's interesting. I'm gonna give myself. I'm gonna have a go at this one.
Give it a
Okay.
shot.
Number 2 is false. Bait at a treehouse. Am I right?
That actually happened.
That happened.
The false one was the monkey throwing poop.
Okay. All right. You know, it was really hard. I don't know. That was a hard one. I'm gonna be honest.
That's what
They
I'm
were all
saying.
pretty
It
good
was- It was
stories.
a very eventful trip.
Okay. Do you have any pictures of the treehouse?
I believe I do.
Okay. Well, we're going to need to see that. All right. Well, everyone, we appreciate you guys coming here with us. It was an absolute pleasure to talk with my friend Reid Varda. And another thing I'm going to throw in here is if you guys are interested in doing experiences like this, Bellarmine has plenty of opportunities to get involved and go abroad and, really travel the globe. So if you want to get involved in something like this, I highly suggest going to the study abroad department and, getting a meeting situated with them. We have plenty of opportunities to get involved in France. We can also go to Italy, Spain, and plenty other places. I've had a special where I talked to a kid who went to London and did a photography program there. So if you guys are interested in anything like this, go ahead and take a look. But other than that, Reid, it was an absolute pleasure to be here with you.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine.